Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. So on this video I'm going to be doing an updated version of how to use a brow pencil. I started by applying a primer. I added a primer because I have an oily face and sometimes my brows tend to get oily, so I apply an oil-free primer to keep my brows in place, to keep it matte for longer hours. Then I take a pencil as usual and I follow the shape of my brows and I use a pencil to start to draw. Meanwhile, when I'm drawing, I try as much as possible to make sure that I am not painting my face, but I'm just following the shape of my brows. I'm using the pencil lightly. So I go to the next brows and I do the same thing, following the shape of my brows. When you're drawing your brows, it's very important that when you're using the pencil, you use it lightly and not that you are painting your face, because you don't want your brows looking like as if you attached a fake brow on it. You want it to look as natural as possible. So once I'm done with the pencil, I'm going to highlight my brows on this video. I'm not going to just define the brows alone, I'm going to highlight it. So I'm going to take a concealer that is one shade lighter than my shade, and I'm going to highlight the brow bone area, my brow bone area using an angled brush. When I want to apply, I start exactly at the brow bone area because the goal is to highlight my brow bone area. So once I've applied it, I use the residue on the brush to go to the remaining side of my brows to try and make it look neat. And once I apply the concealer, I start to blend in the concealer. I blend the concealer, making sure that I do not lose the straight line and the neatness that I've already created. You can see the line, it's very straight, and my blending did not make my line look crooked. And wherever I see that the line is crooked, I reapply a little bit of concealer, and after I've applied it, I blend it into my skin. Remember, the concealer is one shade lighter than my skin tone because I'm trying to highlight. Highlight my brow bone area. So I do the same to the other eyes, the other brow bone side. I start from the brow bone. I blend. Then I use the remaining residue of the concealer on my brush to highlight the other sides of my brows to make it look neat. So I blend At the same time as I'm blending, it's very important for me to have this pencil sharpness at the extreme end. Very important. So now I take a powder that is going to be one shade lighter than my skin tone. I use a powder that is one shade lighter than my skin tone to set the concealer that I've applied here. I'm using a powder that is one shade lighter than mine because it was the same thing I used as a concealer. And remember that I'm trying to highlight my brow bone area. So I dab the powder on the concealer to set the concealer. And I do the same to the other brow bone area. Once I pat the powder, then I blend it also into my skin. I'm not really the type that also uses a concealer to on top of the brows. You know, some people tell you that they'll use it under the brows and they'll use it on top of the brows. I usually do that for clients, especially when I make mistakes, but for myself I don't really bother. So I take a brow brush and I brush it into the brows to try and make it look as natural as possible. I love my brows looking natural. I don't like my brows looking like as if it's painted. So this is the end result. It's looking as I expected. The brows are highlighted and my brow bone area is highlighted, and at the same time my brows are neat. Thank you for watching, and I know you gained something today.